Hi, this is a video I tried to make a year and a half ago and decided I wasn't ready. But this morning I realized that this is something I still haven't talked about on this channel. About 2 years ago, I realized that I am not just a really prudish straight person. I'm demisexual. Demisexuality is where you can't feel sexual attraction unless you have some sort of bond. And it doesn't necessarily mean that once you become like good friends or romantically involved with someone, you will experience sexual attraction, but it's the only condition under which you can. It's not the same as not having a sex drive. It is not the same as being sex repulsed. Although those things do sometimes overlap. I thought I would kind of talk a little bit about how I figured it out and the coming out process, because it is a process. It's not something that you'll ever really finish. I was talking about sexual attraction and how I had felt it for the first time when I was dating my ex, Chris. I was so confused because I didn't really realize what all those other people had been feeling this whole time. Claire was like, I think you might be demisexual. You think I might be what now? I had never heard of demisexuality. It's on the asexuality spectrum, and I knew about asexuality, and I knew that romantic and sexual attraction were different in theory, but I didn't really understand it. A couple days later, the word was just bouncing around the inside of my head, and so I googled it, just read the definition, and I'm like, that does kind of sound like me. Okay, maybe I am. A few weeks after that, Evan Edinger came out as demisexual. Hearing him explain it helped me be like, okay, maybe this is a real thing. Maybe I am demisexual. There are other people out there like me. But then I just kind of put it aside and didn't really think about it for a while. A few weeks after that, sitting with my roommate, she starts talking and says out loud for the first time that she's attracted to women. I told her I'm questioning my sexuality too. I think I might be demisexual. And that was really great to have someone to kind of go through that with. The next person I told was Chris. I told him that I think I might be demisexual, and he said, duh. After that, I started coming out slowly to my friends. I told my mom that summer. She responded by repeating the word demisexual a bunch of times as if saying it would help her understand what it is. As I explained it, she said, well, then you gotta get some new friends because you're not gonna date any of them. The only other really weird response I got was my sister. She said, well, I want to be an aunt, so everyone else has been really great and understanding, but they are the only people in my family I have told. It's never easy to come out to someone new. It's easier sometimes than it is other times. My techniques kind of just blurt it out when it makes sense in a conversation. Like, I blurted it out to my mom. She was nagging me about boys, and I'm like, well, I'm demisexual. So the problem with demisexuality is that no one knows what it is. And so I started telling people I'm asexual. As a demisexual, heteromantic, I sometimes feel like I'm not queer enough to need to come out. I still do feel sexual attraction, theoretically, to guys and not to girls. What's the big deal? This close to being straight. Why do I need to come out? Sexuality is just so assumed in our society that sometimes you just feel like you need to clear the air. When I was at Denver for grad school, we were playing Never Have I Ever one night. People were doing all these really weird specific sex things. So I finally just Never Have I Ever Had Sex, and they all just looked at me. And then this one girl at UPAC just what? Never? Not even a little bit? Girl, we are gonna get you laid. And I was like, guys, I'm ace. But coming out like that, only really doable if you A, know the people, but B, not super well so you don't care that much what they think about you, and C, you're pretty sure they're all pretty liberal. When I started coming out as demi, I didn't know anyone who was on the asexuality spectrum. So that was really exciting to have my first ace friend. It's more common than we think. It's still pretty rare. There might be people in your life who have had similar experiences. If you're watching this because you're on the asexuality spectrum and you feel alone and broken, you're not. You can always reach out to me and ask questions, resources in the description. Your identity is valid.